Hey, how's it going? Oh, am I muted?
Hey,
Oh, there we
no.
go. Hi.
All right. Gonna wait for Kevin to come on here, and I think Holly's gonna be joining too.
Yep, I see she's in the waiting room. Let me let her in here.
Cool. Got a bunch of questions. I'm gonna share the screen here in a second.
Okay,
I hope we have the time figured out now.
I hope so too. I think Diana fixed it. I saw a notification today,
Okay.
so
Well,
we shall see.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna should I let them in now? We have two in.
Yeah, is Kevin coming in?
I'm not sure. Let me see here. I don't see him in the.
Okay, that's fine. We'll get started with it.
Okay. Hey everyone. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing today?
See, thumbs up.
Hi,
All right.
Effie.
Yeah, we'll get started here, Andrea.
Awesome.
Oh, there
Oh,
is
Kevin's
Kevin.
joined. Here we go.
Oh. All right. Um, Andrea, thanks for running this. Andrea is our customer success manager here at Pebble. I'm Jesse, one of the co-founders here at Pebble. My co-founder here, Kevin, also here live. And then we've also got Holly. Holly's joining us. She's also on the Pebble team as well. She's got tons of land experience. Please forgive me. I do not have my Pebble shirt on today, but I'll promise I'll next time. Anyways, guys, we've got something I'd like to go through today. Uh, Kevin, I'm going to put you on the spot here because I want to go through sort of the best practices going from the inbox all the way to the deal board. I don't want to say all the way, but going from inbox, a potential lead, and then creating a deal opportunity from there. I've also got a lot of questions submitted from you guys. We've got about 10 questions already lined up here. So we'll go through that as well, which is awesome. And if you have any questions as well, feel free to throw it in the chat. I ask you guys to throw it in the chat because we've got a lot of people in here, or we've got a number of you guys in here, and it's just a lot easier if we sort of tackle that on an sort of when we're ready basis. So I'll keep an eye on that. But like I said, we're going to start off from leads to deals. Um, and the word lead, we don't typically use too much inside of Pebble. And I just want to make sure we
Not,
clarify some of these terminology.
well,
Oh, somebody is unmuted here. If you guys don't mind just muting yourself, we can sort of pick up some of your noise there. Efrat, I'm going to go ahead and mute you, and Claire. Yep, awesome. Cool. All right. So we'll start from the inbox. The inbox is a place where, most of everything comes into your initial communication after your outbound marketing. In the chat, I'd love to know, what are you guys doing for your outbound marketing? Is it mailers? Is it cold calling? Is it texting? Please throw it in the chat because that gives me context and I can sort of guide this conversation. Julian, great to see. Oh, Julian, great to see you. Didn't realize you're here because you don't have your camera on. Tom, it's good to see you. It's been a while too. Mailing, cool. Efrat, what are you doing for your marketing? Claire, what are you guys doing for marketing? Jay, what are you doing for your marketing? Yvonne, please throw it in the chat. Okay, so far I'm seeing mailers here. Great. Sounds like probably everybody's doing mailings. Okay, cool. So if you're doing your mailing, right, you're probably going to get some sort of a response back. Maybe it's going to come to you via email. It might come through text or phone. That is going to come into your inbox. And that, Kevin, would you say that is what we call a lead that comes into the inbox?
Yes. So, yeah, the first communication that is your lead. And that's, again, whether they submit a form on your website if you just put your phone number on a mailer and somebody gives you a call, leaves a voicemail, However you prefer to get your leads in, everything will come into that inbox. That's sort of like where the game starts, is right in that inbox.
Yeah. Kevin, do you mind sharing your screen and
Sure can, yeah.
showing us the inbox here? Now, there's many ways you can connect into that inbox. You can get things into your inbox through text, email, phone, even by automations. It can come into here as well. To connect your inbox, there is a settings function on the top right. We won't go in too much detail for that, but you certainly can get things in there. All right, so once that's in there, Kevin, what's the next thing? Let's say you had a conversation. Somebody said, "Hey, Kevin, I got your letter in the mail here. I'm interested. Tell me what your offer is. Tell me what your offer is." Where do we go from
Yeah. So in this example, I've got we call these over on the left side a thread. That's typically what I call them. And this is an example of a call. So somebody gives me a call. I've got them on the phone. I've got them in the inbox. And so the first step is likely going to be selecting their contact or entering their contact information if you don't have it already. Now, if this is a mailer that you have uploaded into Pebble, it's likely that that contact already exists in your system. And Pebble will do our best to grab that contact or auto suggest that contact. If we can't, then it's up to you to sort of go in here and enter any information you need to about that contact. So if that's the name, the email, if you want to grab that while you're on the phone with them, you can go in and enter that. And then the next step is going to be creating a deal. Now, in a lot of cases, somebody is just calling you to say, "Hey, buzz off and never talk to me again." In that case, we don't want to be creating a deal. Or they might just be, sometimes people just reach out to reach out. They're not really serious about selling you a property. So in those cases, you may not want to create a deal. But in most cases, if you determine, yes, this is a lead that is worth pursuing, the next step there is to create a deal. Now, you can do one of two things. You can either select an existing deal if you know that this deal already exists in your system, or we can create a new deal. Now, if you're creating a new deal, we have the option of entering a campaign code. Now, this is if you're sending mail via Pebble, we generate a code for each mail that goes out. So if I'm on a call with Charles here and I say, "Hey, Charles, do you have a letter with a code on it?" If they read back that code, I'll just type in, we'll just bring in this one. So if I select that code, that's going to preset a bunch of information for me. That's a great way to save time here. So as soon as I enter the code, it's going to know who that mailer is for. It's going to set the campaign that came from. It's going to set the contact, and it's also going to set the property that I referenced during that when I sent that mail. So that's a great way to sort of shortcut entering a lot of information if you have that code. Now, if you don't have the code, or if you're using, say, cold calling, or you're doing something else where you don't have a campaign code, then that's okay. You can just type in that information manually here. We'll select a stage that we want to put that in. We might enter a deal value. So if you know that right offhand that this is a deal that's worth, say, $5,000, you can type that in. Otherwise, you don't have to. And then we'll just click save. So now I've got that deal set up for that phone call.
Right. So really, again, to summarize that, we're going to do probably some very quick qualification, or sorry, you're going to make that contact. You're going to create that contact. You may want to do some quick qualification, then create the deal. And then once we're created the deal, it's got now what we call a deal card. It's on the deal. This isn't where we're actually managing, potential deals. This is sort of where we're just communicating. Then we move over to the deal board, right?
Yes. So I can then subsequently, after I've created this deal. I can open that deal. And this is where sort of the whole flow of everything happens. This is the primary place where you're going to be working your deals and handling information. So this can be things like creating tasks, right? I know I need to do some due diligence items on this property. I know that I need to be communicating with my team. I can do that through the notes here. I need to be able to interact with the property. So setting things like custom fields, um, marking properties as purchased or making offers on properties. All of those things are going to happen here on the deal.
Yeah, yeah. So few key areas here is really the contact and the property records do exist there. One thing we talked about a couple weeks ago in terms of metrics on the top there, if you want, I mean, this is one thing you should be tracking the performance of your campaign. There's a little edit icon there. If you didn't enter in the campaign code, or sorry, the campaign record code, which basically signals, what campaign it belongs to, you can manually select which campaign it belongs to. I would also add a estimated deal value on there as well. And all right, so I mean, this is where you're going to spend a lot of your time. Now, when you're ready to actually acquire this property, let's sort of wrap it up from here, going from the inbox to handling your deals. Where and how is the best way for us to say, hey, I've acquired this property now?
Yeah, so the determination of when we mark a property as purchased is sort of up to you. Typically, what people will do is once they get a signed contract, so they've got a contract in hand with the seller's signature saying, I am going to sell this property to me. I'm going to mark this property as purchased. So the way we do that is we go to the property here and we're going to click Mark Purchased. And this is going to give us all of the information about that purchase. So let's say I'm going to purchase this property for $5,000. And I can change the date on when I actually purchased that, but we'll just leave it for today. And then we are going to capture things like closing costs. A lot of times there will be some cost to closing on a property. I'll just put $500. If I had additional costs, let's say I had to clean up trash on the property or I had to, pay off a neighbor, like whatever that might be, you might want to put that into additional costs. And then if I am working with a funder, I can type in the funding provided. Now, all of this information is used when we're calculating the return on investment of that property. So if you have a funder, that will affect, what the ROI is there. So that's where you put in that information. And I'll just go ahead and click save. So now I've purchased that property. I've marked that property as purchased.
Yeah, and you can see that you've sort of got that purchased block there. Yeah, and so once you're done with this, you can either move it to a final stage or whatever it is. You can close out this deal. This doesn't actually, delete it or anything like that, but it just simply archives it. You can always pull that up. Or you may want to think about, bringing this into a different deal board as well. Maybe now you need to start your managing on subdividing. You're starting the subdividing process. It'll then go into a board, maybe you call inventory, where you do have subdividing processes in there, or marketing, or whatever it may be. Then you can continue to track for that property there. All right, so that's sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that sort of sums up going from your inbox onto your deal boards and managing your deals. I actually want to jump into some questions. Great to see some familiar faces. Kirsten, good to see you. John, I saw you there in a second. All right, well, I've got some questions. If you guys have further questions, please throw it in the chat. So, and some of this is tied to this. So John here asks, with follow-up automations, how to set up our automated follow-up system. So there is a video on this. I don't know if we need to spend too much time on this, but Kevin, do you mind sharing your screen? I only have the slide pulled up here.
Sure.
We'll just kind of go through where the action plans are and where you can find that. On the left, you'll see the automated follow-up plans in the menu bar, or you can click where it is here as well, where the contact is. You can create your plans here. You simply hit add plan on the top, and then you can choose, your contact method, the day of the plan, time of the plan, and this will continue to run as soon as they are enrolled. Okay. A couple of key things here. You can email, you can text, you can also set a call reminder, and you can also do a mailing out. Okay, so that's something you can do when those leads are when those leads get back to you, or when the contact gets back to you, it will pause the automation. Okay, so as soon as they as soon as they reply back to you, it will pause that automation. We've got Andrea. We've got an article on this. She threw in the chat there.
Yep.
John, I don't know. It's a different John. I don't see him here, but if anybody runs for the team or is here for John's team, make sure you check that out. It's within our knowledge base, kb.pebblerei.com. It's the automated follow-ups. Also on YouTube, Kevin and I just did a video on also like continuing making offers, like increased offers. You can also find that on our YouTube channel. I don't know the specific link right now, but it should be there. This comes from another person asking about Jay. This was from you, and I think I saw Jay, you're here. Jay, you asked, what should I do if the auto follow-up plan errors? And is there any chance to know what are the names of the people who check the website that connects to in Pebble? Okay, so two different questions here. What should you do if the auto follow-up plan errors out? Can you give us a little bit more detail of where it's airing out? Is it that you're missing their information and it's just a step that it's airing out on, or? Jay, feel free to unmute yourself because this is your question here. Yeah, so I'm just wondering, what do you mean? You said, what should I do if the auto follow-up plan errors? What do you mean by errors? And I'll answer this other question. Is there any chance to know what are the names of people who check the website that connects in Pebble? So visitors who come, you won't know who those visitors are unless they opt in. And that's why, depending on the acquisition or disposition side, we've got forms that'll prompt them to opt in, or submit their information over to you. So there is not really any way we can sort of get that data. Yeah. Okay, Jay. Well, as you sort of continue to type what you mean by the errors, we'll come back to you. Yvonne asked here, how to connect Zapier to Pebble as third applications. This is quite a lengthy. Sorry, go ahead. Somebody just spoke here.
We do have some pretty good documentation on this on the knowledge base.
Yeah.
And we have basically two ways of doing things. It depends on if you're trying to get information out of Pebble or put information into Pebble, whether you're like creating a contact or a deal. Both of those ways of doing things are possible with Pebble's Zapier integration. So depending on what you want to do, it sort of, there's lots to talk about there.
To summarize, when it's with Zapier, and I do this in a Dirt Hacker Challenge, I spend a lot of time sort of showing how that works. And I think there's a video here too. You can literally follow along. But you basically set up a Zapier account, right? You want to build out the Zap. So what's the trigger and what's the action? So the trigger is what causes the automation to happen, and the action is what's going to happen. I'll give you an example. You can have somebody, maybe you move a property to a certain stage in the deal board, and you want to alert your team member, Tracy, to know about that inside of Slack. Okay, so the trigger is when you move it into a stage. The action is a message over into Slack. Okay, every application setup is very different. Zapier is something I don't like to push for, because unless you really know you need it, I would do it on a manual basis until you really know you need to do it all the time. And it's always recurring. There's two things that I always make sure you have. You have a source of truth for your data, and it's actually, internet connected. You need those two things to be true in order to run these automations inside of Zapier. There's a lot that goes into Zapier. Please go through the training inside of that. And then Sky, I see your question there. So let me see. You said the Zapier integration does not work on our Pebble account. I have Zapier triggers active, but does not show that Zapier is an active integration on our account. So we are limited to our ability to integrate within the system. Yeah, so there are going to be limitations. It's not like you can do everything within Zapier. And that's something. Yeah, go ahead, Sky.
If you're not seeing it within Pebble, then it's possible that Zapier hasn't been turned on. That's sort of a thing that you have to do on the Zapier side before it shows up in Pebble. If that's the case, then
Kevin,
make
I
sure
might
that
have
that's
some
turned on.
insight as well. One thing that we've done, I have Zapier connected and it's running like a charm, but when you go to settings and then integrations and look, Zapier shows that it's not connected because I don't have anything outbound. One of the people on your support team explained to me that the Zapier connection will only show as connected if you have
If it's
outbound stuff going from Pebble.
yeah.
But for me, I'm using all the Zapier stuff for my intake form. So an intake form happens, it populates data, it creates the contact and Jill's in Pebble. So it may just be this guy. It's kind of a confusing UI thing where like I'm actively talking with Zapier, my system's talking with Zapier every day. But if I go to settings integrations and look, it says it's not connected. So Sky might just be running into that.
That's a good point for sure. We have plans to update our Zapier integration to make this a little bit smoother. So hopefully this year or this quarter we can get some updates there to make that like UI problem a little bit better. But yeah, Zapier is one of those things, and this is not a Pebble problem. This is a Zapier in general problem. Zapier is extremely complicated, and I have been frustrated at no end by Zaps not working or stopping to work. And this is, before Pebble even existed, and I was trying to integrate it with Trello and with spreadsheets and all that stuff. So if you are not a super techie person, just know that being frustrated with Zapier is normal, and you just sort of have to fight with it until it works.
Yeah. Ben, I got your question. I noticed we got questions in the chat there. I'm going to just hop back to our only two more questions here on the pre-submitted questions. Ben, you asked here, I'm having a new lead come in through Zapier form. Is there any way to query for existing contacts, as now I have duplicates because the system creates contacts within the address when I import my mail, then a new contact with a phone, email, but no address. When it comes in via a form, the duplicate makes it harder to manage. Do not mail requests. So my understanding here is that you've already brought in that contact, right, through your campaign. And then now those contacts are also coming into your inbox through, you're zapping it into your inbox. And is there a way to sort of look it up and keep it as one contact? Kevin, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. There is, now without knowing the whole mechanics of the way you're set up here, when a lead comes in, let's just grab one that doesn't have a contact yet. All right, this is okay. So when that lead form comes in, we should see something like this. It may say that there's a suggested contact, but it doesn't sound like that's the case in your situation. But we have the option of, yeah, go ahead.
I'm aware of the selecting existing contact manual flow. What's happening right now is when someone submits something, so I have basically the equivalent of a Pebble intake form. When something comes in that way, it's a Google form. Zapier will have all this information. They'll append it to a deal. They'll also, in a Zapier, you don't have any way of attaching a contact. You just have create new contact with this information. I want to make sure that all that stuff is saved, their email, anything that's collected on that form. So I create a new contact from that because I can't look one up. But would be really helpful, I guess, you could solve this in one or two ways. One is within Zapier, and I know you said that's super complex. Just in a future thing, have the ability to like look up contacts by
Look up a
name.
contact. Yep, for sure.
If that isn't available, the other thing that would be totally fine by me is if in some way there was functionality within Pebble to merge contacts. So if I
Mhm.
go to my contacts and I say, "Hey, search this name," I'm going to have their name is going to be the same. You know, their last name might be the same, but anyways, I can identify two contacts and really quickly say merge. The mailing address is
Yeah.
stuck on one. The
Mhm.
anything that comes in from the form, so their email address, their cell phone number, and that stuff is on another. And it'd just be really helpful to
Mhm.
have that in one, so that when I go to mark them as do not mail, do not contact, I can make sure that I'm actually respecting that, rather than like maybe one of them says do not mail, but then the other one slips through because it's technically a different contact.
Yeah, that's a great point. Something that we've definitely thought about, and we will definitely be doing that merge contact functionality at some point. Um, but in Efrat, if you're so so when we talk about a word, okay, coming into WordPress site after receiving the answer from the lead, there will be a code for leaving the details. So it sounds like you're trying to attach that lead to an existing contact. And we should be able to do that if it, depending on how your setup is, but you can select an existing contact here, search for that contact, and then select them there.
But not through Zapier, correct?
Not through
Mhm.
Zapier. Zapier is sort of a different animal, and Efrat, maybe you have some more context here about how that lead is getting into Pebble. Is that coming through Zapier or just coming through?
Yes. So
Oh, sorry, Kevin. I think you're reading Efrat's message on there. I'm actually reading Ben's question on a different. Yeah, so you might be getting
Oh,
it mixed
okay.
up.
I thought those are the same.
No, we've got some
This is-
pre-submitted questions that are not on the chat here. So
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, are you aware of what Ben is referring to?
Yeah, so again, my understanding, Ben, is you want to be able to, once that comes in, be able to query for an existing contact and add it or pull that existing contact or add it to that contact. We don't have that ability to do so, but as Kevin mentioned, we are sort of revisiting Zapier again and sort of making some updates on that, and we'll take that into consideration. Actually, your ideas have been discussed already. So it's something that we're already putting our thoughts towards.
awesome.
Yep,
Thanks
definitely
so
stay
much.
tuned for that.
Yeah, thanks. All right. And one more question that is not in the chat here, and I'll just quickly, Simon here asked, adding multiple phone numbers to a contact, adding additional custom properties, contact record. So right now, you can have multiple phone numbers. There's a primary and secondary phone number. You're just going to have to stay consistent with what those numbers are. We don't call them cell phones or mobile phones and home phones just because not everybody has those. So you have the ability to do that. There are no custom properties for contacts as of yet. We want to sort of keep this as straightforward as possible. So that's that. All right, I'm going to jump into the chat questions here. Jonathan asks, a little off topic, but any tips on how to create purchase agreements for deals with multiple properties? When I generate an offer, it only takes the first property listed. Yes, there is. Right, Kevin, with the right
Yes. So if we go, let's just pull up a deal here
with
that
multiple
has.
properties. So first thing you got to make sure is the deal has multiple properties associated with it.
Mhm.
And then you can certainly go from there.
So what we typically recommend you do, let's say I have another property here. I'm just going to select another one here. So now I've got two properties associated with this deal. So if I mark, so if I go into one of these properties and well, actually, let's see. If I create, yeah, let's just create a document. We're going to skip the creating an offer step, but let's just create a document. Let's call this like a purchase agreement. As long as I do this from the deal that has multiple properties, I can select here, add document, and then this is going to bring me my document list. We'll find one here that's like, Outbound warranty deed. We'll call this inbound sales and purchase contract. We'll just do this. Okay, so in this scenario, because I created that document from the deal and that deal had multiple properties, you'll see that in that creation step where we're creating the document, I have both of those properties here. And my placeholders, these are set up to render out both of these properties. So this is the property 1 and this is property 2, the 2 APNs there. So as long as your document is set up appropriately to have both properties there, then you will see both APNs there.
Good.
And yeah, if that's not working for your particular document, please reach out to support. We'd be happy to sort of show you what placeholders need to be there, but that's how you sort of render the two properties.
Yeah, it's really dependent on the placeholders. And Kevin, do you recall which placeholders we use for that?
It's the
That was gonna be
all
my next
property.
question.
Mhm.
Oh,
think
yeah,
it's all-
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the all properties placeholder is what it's called. So if you go into the document, click yeah, all properties, then it should pop up there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mhm.
Awesome. Sky, I think we sort of addressed that one. Yvonne, what's the best integration or third application for Pebble aside from Zapier? Yeah, I mean, right now, like we have an integration with Zapier, but you can quote unquote integrate things through our our inbox email address and tie things over and get things in through the inbox email address. It really depends on what you want to do, but for the most part, it is Zapier. I'm not aware of, anything else is as flexible as Zapier at this moment. So we're staying focused on Zapier. Now, Yvonne, if there's something in specific you're looking to bridge together or connect, let me know. Efrat, is there a way to, sorry, go ahead.
I'll just reiterate, Yvonne, for what Jesse said earlier. Automations sound really good, but unless you have a very specific case for needing them, we would recommend shying away from automations. They do just tend to add a layer of complexity, and unless you're getting a lot of value out of that automation, we would recommend you start by doing things as manually as possible, find where that pain is, and then look to automate rather than trying to automate at the start.
Yep. Efrat, is there a way to reverse the registration method of the landing page? I think it might mean the opt-in form. This meaning, is it possible to get the code of the questions page to the WordPress site after receiving answer from the lead? There will be a code for leaving the details. Forgive me. And help me understand, Efrat, you just want to be able to just ask for the code and that's it, nothing else. Okay, maybe you explain. Well, my question is about landing pages and lead collection, regardless of Zapier, but for an independent campaign I'm doing on social networks. Okay, so are you promoting people? You're running paid traffic, and then you're driving them to a page to just say, "Hey, enter in your mailer code." Is that what it is?
Well, I'll try to explain. When I'm working with social media, I put an ad, and at the bottom, of course, I put my website, and I try to collect the leads. The website, of course, it's connected to Pebble, but what I thought to do is to put a link with the questions. So I know, so then my website can, well, sorry, my English is not so well. I'm thinking
That's okay.
too many languages. What I'm saying, like, after you see the advertisement and you press the link, you get the questions. So I can know if you're a seller or a buyer. Okay. And then after you finish to answer the question, you can leave your name and address and telephone and everything.
Okay.
So just to reverse the way the things work, because at the moment, you know, prepare the questions and then I get the code, but the code is only for getting the lead, your name, your address, and your phone number.
Okay. So to get a bit of content, are you running ads to ask if they are a buyer or seller, then you're driving them to a form?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to open a new campaign for Halloween sale. Okay, I want to sell my properties at the counties where I bought my properties. So I'm going to put a campaign for a Halloween sale, and at the end it will be a link. So to get the people to buy the properties. But perhaps I'm imagining it wrong or see all this method wrong. Okay, perhaps it's smarter, it's wiser to get your name and email address and then to ask you the question. But the way I see it, I think it will be better. It will be easier for me to ask you the question first if you are interested, and if you are, you will give me your name and telephone number and email. So I will build this trust thing between us.
So like if you're doing on the disposition side, you don't build the form inside of Pebble. Our WordPress site, I don't know if you're using our WordPress site, we have a form builder there, which you can fully customize. If that's what you want to do and ask them, hey, are you interested in buying land? Yes or no. If yes, then they can enter in their information. So you certainly can do that. The form builder inside of that, it's called the REI Land List website. So there is a form builder called Ninja Forms. You can build your forms with that. Now, from personal experience and sort of on the marketing side of things, you do want to have as little friction as possible. Questions that get them thinking right off the gate is probably going to even deter some people from actually answering and submitting their information. You've already told them on your ad, hey, come here, I've got land. They come in, hey, are you interested in land? Fill out your information, grab their information as soon as possible, and then let them view your properties. And that's something we have built in, where if they land on one of your properties, it'll ask them, hey, what's your name? And so I can let you know about future properties. You want to drop your name here, so you don't miss out on future deals. So you can do something like that as well. So the form is fully customizable. You can reverse it, change it however you'd like. That will take some time on your end. Or you could do something like Ben and build out a form with another form builder and have it on your website. So there's a few ways you can go about that. I'm not sure exactly what what the strategy is exactly, but you should have full ability to make those changes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I know it doesn't sort of give you the most technical walkthrough of how to do that, but inside are you using REI Land List websites, our websites, or are you listing on your own?
At the moment, I'm using mine,
okay.
which is WordPress.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, but tomorrow I'm going to start to use also your website, your method. So.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So you have the ability to do so on our websites. All right, we're going to wrap this up with the last question here. Are we allowed to lower down the plan in growth but keep the number of members? So Yvonne, at this point in time, if you have multiple users, you're going to need to be on that growth plan. If you are a single user, then the starter plan makes sense. If you want to share passwords, you can do so, but you won't have the ability to tag each other or mention each other. So the starter plan is really for somebody who's just getting their first mailing out the door. But if Yvonne, I don't know if you're a team member already, but if you're a team member and you've got other people on the team, the growth plan probably makes most sense. You're gonna have task management, team assignment, and all that stuff. So all right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for all the awesome questions here. It's always great to see familiar faces. This happens every Wednesday. Kevin and I hop in every other Wednesday, but Andrea will be here probably along with Holly as well. I might drop in from time to time, but we'll see you every Wednesday. Other than that, guys, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys. And this will be available for replay on YouTube. So if you need to rewatch this, it'll be there. Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.